Let me tell you something most people never realize. Success doesn't come from talent, luck, or big leaps. It comes from the tiny things you do when nobody's watching. There was a young man named Ravi, broke, exhausted, working long hours at a shop. Everyone told him to give up on his dream of becoming a sculptor. And honestly, he almost did, until one moment changed everything. What he did next wasn't magical, flashy, or instant, but it transformed his entire life. And the crazy part? You could do it too. Watch till the end, because this is the kind of story that doesn't just inspire you, it challenges every excuse you've ever made. In a lively town nestled between hills and rivers lived a young man named Ravi. He wasn't the most talented, the richest, or the smartest, but he had a dream. Since childhood, Ravi wanted to become a skilled sculptor, someone whose artwork would live on long after he was gone. His inspiration came from his late grandfather, a humble stonecutter who used to say, "Greatness isn't born. It's carved, one strike at a time." But as Ravi grew up, life didn't exactly welcome his dreams. Ravi lived in a small rented room, worked long hours at a local hardware shop, and barely made enough to cover food and bills. Whenever he mentioned becoming a sculptor, people laughed. "Art won't pay your rent. You're too old to start. You don't have the talent." Even his friends advised him to be realistic. And for a while, he believed them. One evening, while closing the hardware shop, Ravi noticed an old man struggling to lift a block of marble outside. Instinctively, he ran to help. The old man introduced himself as Hari Prasad, a retired master sculptor. When Ravi told him about his dream, and how he'd given up, Hari smiled and said just one line. "A stone doesn't crack on the first hit. But hit it enough times in the same place, and it shatters beautifully." That sentence lit something inside Ravi. That night, Ravi found his grandfather's rusted tools in a box he had nearly thrown away. With tears in his eyes, he whispered, "I'll try again. One strike at a time." He didn't have a workshop, expensive equipment, or formal training. But he made a promise to himself. "No matter how tired I am, I'll dedicate 1 hour every day to sculpting." Not when he felt inspired. Not when he had free time. Every single day. He bought a discarded stone piece for a few coins and began practicing in the small alley behind his room. Day 1, his hands hurt. Day 7, his cuts were uneven. Day 21, his neighbors mocked him. Day 30, he considered quitting. But every night, he remembered his grandfather's voice. One strike at a time. He didn't try to be perfect. He just tried to be consistent. One winter week, work hours increased, his boss yelled constantly, and he barely slept. On the 45th day, exhausted and shivering, he skipped sculpting. The next day he felt guilty. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe he was wasting his time. But that evening, as he opened his door, he saw the stone lying there, cold, unshaped, waiting. Ravi picked up his chisel and worked for just 15 minutes. Not because he felt motivated, but because he had made a decision. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. He carved small figurines. He sold one to a tourist for the first time. He started getting requests from locals for small decor pieces. A few people who once mocked him now brought him stones to carve. Step by step, his skill sharpened. After a year of daily practice, the town announced a cultural exhibition. Ravi hesitated, there would be professional artists there. But Hari Prasad, the retired sculptor, encouraged him to display his work. Ravi submitted a hand-carved statue of a dancing woman, a piece he had worked on bit by bit over months. At the exhibition, his statue drew a crowd. People were stunned to learn he practiced in an alley after work. A local art gallery owner approached him with an offer. "Would you like to carve full-time? Your work deserves a studio." Ravi couldn't speak. Tears welled up. Not because he suddenly became the best, but because his consistency had opened a door no one else believed existed. A year later, he stood in his own workshop, teaching kids who once only saw stone, but now saw possibilities. One of the students asked him, "Sir, when did you know you'd succeed?" Ravi smiled and replied gently, "The day I decided to show up, whether I felt like it or not." Consistency beats talent. Consistency beats luck. Consistency beats motivation. You don't have to take giant leaps. You don't need applause or perfect conditions. You just need to show up, especially on the days you don't want to. Because success isn't built in a moment. It's built in moments you repeat. 1 hour a day. One habit at a time. One strike at the stone, every day. And one day, the world will see what you were building all along. If you want change, don't wait for inspiration. Start small. Stay steady. Be patient. The power of consistency will carve your future, just like Ravi carved his dream.